Welcome back to Two Generations, One Mic, where no topic is off limits.
And no opinion is left unsaid. My name is Michelle Blitzovs, and I am a Generation X.
My name is Joel Blitzars. I'm a Gen Z.
So today we're going to cover the topic of health. What is each generation's approach to health, to well-being? Does it look different depending on your age? You know, they say the older you get, the less healthy you get. Because here's a
I'd say
fun
that's true.
fact. This will be shocking for everybody. We're all going to die one day.
That's true.
Some of us sooner than later.
And that might be contributed to your health.
Could be health related, right?
Yep.
So, Joel, you know, you're Gen Z in your early 20s. How important is health to you?
Health is very, very, very important to me. But I think everyone's reasons are very different. So for me, I go to the gym. I'm training calisthenics, actually. I don't really do weights. I used to, but now I'm doing calisthenics. And that is for strength reasons. And my main number one motivator to work out is to be a good protector and try and at least be a little more intimidating to the regular person, so I can walk around with Charlize, walk around with my family one day, and people don't mess with us. And if they do, I need to be somewhat strong to handle that. That's why I'm going to take on boxing in the future as well. And also, if my kid ever falls off a ledge, I need to be able to catch them, I need to be able to pull them up, I need to be able to save someone from drowning, all those sorts of things. That's the main reason that I go to the gym. It's healthy. But of course, there's other reasons like, well, I want to prolong my life as well. And I want to be able to, I need to get my cardio up. That's something that I actually need to improve, which was one of my New Year's resolutions, but I'm yet to start running. But yeah, I think being healthy is very important. Same with what you put in your body. I think that plays a big contributor into other things as well. Like I have psoriasis, and it's gotten a lot better with my hair and my scalp, and that might be because of the way I'm eating now. And yeah, I think it's a big factor, and I think it's very important to be healthy.
And I think it's a relatively new concept, although, of course, we've always been, you know, health and wellness has always been a thing. I mean, back in my day, Jane Fonda, who you won't know, but she used to do these aerobics things, and there used to be this aerobics TV show every morning before the news shows. And, you know, people would get up early and they would do these aerobics, and we all wore these outfits. And Richard Simmons was big in the day, and all the oldies listening know who I'm talking about. You have no idea. But, you know, sort of working out was always a thing. I think this going to the gym thing is relatively newer concept. I don't know when gyms have always been around, but like there's now one on every corner, right?
Yeah.
And even now there's like these Pilates reformer groups in people's garages, and
Yeah.
there's like 3 or 4 in our suburb alone that I could join a group and go to if I wanted to. And now, of course, we've got apps where we can do fitness workouts at home on our app. We don't even need to go to a class or be in a group. So I do think that the approach to fitness and health is changing, and it has changed over time. I remember used to be, you know, you don't eat carbs, you don't eat fat. It was this big low fat thing. So everything was kind of low fat butter, low fat milk, low fat everything. And then more recently, let's say in the last 10 years, we've discovered apparently that was a lie, and actually you need some fats, and fats are good for you.
Yep.
It's a little bit like the low carb, and Atkins was really big when I was young. That was kind of the diet that everybody did. And everybody went on this Atkins diet. Well, now it's kind of keto is probably the equivalency, I think. And everybody kind of eats like that, low carb, low fat, low taste. That's kind of my take on it anyway.
Maybe you.
Well, I have certainly been a yo-yo dieter. So I have always been bigger. I even at high school, I was not, you know, skinny mini. I was always that little bit bigger. Probably because I just ate whatever was around and in the fridge. And I remember loving chips, and Milo was kind of my downfall. They were my big things.
Yep.
So when I wanted to have kids after we were married, The doc said you could try losing weight. That's their answer to everything, actually. Anything that's wrong with you, you go see your doctor. The first thing they're going to say is try and lose weight. Actually,
Really?
they call it make lifestyle changes,
I
is what they
thought the
say.
first thing that doctors always say is
Here's a
here's
script.
a drug.
Well, and we might
That's what
come
I
back to
found.
that because I would like to talk about antibiotics, and I think it plays a bit of havoc on our
Mhm.
health. And certainly that was my case. I had a lot of tonsillitis when I was young, and I was always on antibiotics. And I think that has had a huge impact on my gut and my gut health over time. And now I avoid taking any prescribed medications at
Yeah.
all. And it's my big goal. I'm old now, so I'm on blood pressure medication. A very, very small amount. It's my goal to get completely off any medication in time. That would be. I
Mhm.
see my mother, who's a little older, she takes a lot of different meds. And
Yeah.
I often wonder if some of the, they all have side effects, right? And,
Yep.
and I'm not sure, the health profession probably do prescribe before they think about health. And I listen to a lot of podcasts about health and have tried to get healthier over the last 5 years, particularly. And part of that is because I've yo-yo dieted. I've lost 30 kilos. I'm very good at losing weight. I'm just excellent at putting it back on.
Yeah, that's the issue, huh?
It is.
Or is it a factor of discipline?
What do you think I should be doing, Joel?
Well, I think if you've had the capability to lose weight, lose 30 kilos,
Three times.
I'm sure if you stuck at that exact thing, then I'm sure it would have stayed off, right?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
there's no way that you lost 30 kilos doing what you did and then kept doing what you did and then put it back on. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's right. And dieting is actually designed like that, right? So the idea is, I remember one diet I was on, you had an apple for breakfast and then you didn't eat till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, that's only sustainable for a short period of time. You
Yeah.
can't do that forever. And I had another one where I was taking flaxseed, heated up with a bit of water or coconut milk with blueberries.
Yeah.
And I had that for breakfast every day for weeks on end. Again, I just couldn't stand it anymore. And that's the problem with dieting. I think I remember I did Weight Watchers once. One of those weight loss things I did was on Weight Watchers. And they said you could eat anything you like. So I had plenty of Tim Tams and doner kebabs, actually, I recall, Castle Towers.
Yeah.
Having an old kebab and a Tim Tam
Mm.
was kind of my thing. Well, I'm not quite sure a kebab's the healthiest option. And Tim Tams are full of sugar.
Yep.
I think one of the more recent things is about no sugar. Do you have a no sugar policy, no fat? Like, what's your you
What's my
haven't been
diet?
through the ups and downs that
I
I've
haven't.
seen. What's your take on health and what to eat?
Well, I guess I can only speak from experience and my generation. I mean, to be honest, I've always been skinny. When I was a kid, I could eat whatever I want and I'd never put anything on. So I'd have milk and Milo, I'd have pizza, cookies. I still have my cookies, but I'd eat whatever I want and I'd never put on any weight. And I think genetics do play a big factor.
Clearly, you haven't got
Of-
my genetics. You must have got dad's.
Yeah, like I do agree with a lot of people that say, look, genetics is a big factor. But I do also think no matter what your genetics are, that you can still get to a place that you want to be. So if your genetics perhaps make it harder to lose weight, it's just going to be harder, but you can still lose weight. It's never impossible. And for me, being skinny, it was harder for me to put on weight. And I'd say Charlize was the same. And so it was just harder to put weight on. But so what I did, I just went on a bulk and I actually tracked my eating, which really helped. And because when you don't track your eating, you really have no idea. Even now, I needed more. Right now, I need to have more protein. So I was like, okay, I need to track again. Found I was eating barely enough protein. So now that I'm tracking, I can keep track of that. But I've just had to put weight on. That's been my goal because I wanted to put on muscle. I weighed about 68 kilos. 64 kilos 5 years ago. And then 68 kilos about 2 years ago. So I went on a bulk. I wanted to get to 80. And to be honest, once you track it and you stay consistent and you stay disciplined, it wasn't that difficult if you just stick with the program. I think the discipline part and the consistency part is what people struggle with. And I don't know what's harder, losing weight or gaining weight. I'd assume it would be harder to lose weight, um, because you have to have more discipline in not eating. Whereas when I was trying to put on weight, I had to stuff my face, and I'd actually get sick of food because I'd be so full, but I hadn't hit my calories, so I had to keep eating. Anyway, I put on the weight and I got to 80, and I've just stuck at 80. I haven't really had an issue with losing it. I think because I keep on top of my eating. Yeah, that's all I've experienced is really gaining weight. I haven't really had to experience losing weight, but I'm sure I will have to experience that when I get older and my metabolism starts to drop.
Yeah, it's really interesting, I think, as I've watched you and Charlize through the journey that you've gone through around putting on weight when I've spent my whole life trying to lose weight.
Mm.
And I think we do often think about health and well-being and weight loss rather than those who perhaps need to put on weight to be a healthier fit for
Mm-hmm.
themselves and for their lifestyle. So I think that's really interesting. What about what is healthy? Like, do they help us at the shopping centres? How do you
No.
find, now that you do your own grocery shopping, how do you choose what to buy? And like, is everything in Woolies and Coles, Aldi, Costco, no advertising here, but
Yeah.
IGA,
Well,
healthy?
it was very look, Charlize is more of the health expert than me. She's
We'll
doing
have
it.
to get her back on
We
sometime.
will have to. She's doing a PT course and whatnot, and she's crazy about it. And she's honestly one of the main reasons I got into the gym because I thought, look, I can't let Charlize get bigger than me, so I'm gonna have to get into the gym. And she's kind of been the one to show me, and she's kind of had her eyes opened as she's actually researched. I don't think many people really do any research. You go into the health section in Coles and Woolies, and you pick up all these things: healthy chips, protein chips, low fat chips, and you read the ingredients, and 99% of the things that we picked up all had sunflower oil and really bad oils, canola oil. None of them had extra virgin olive oil, which is actually good. They all had these terrible things in them, and we were very shocked because it's labeled and advertised as healthy.
Mm.
But if you actually do some research on these oils, they're actually quite bad for you. So I think in the shopping centers, and even online with what we're promoting with proteins, like whey protein or the protein drinks you can get at the shop, they have all these bad proteins in it. And we used to do like protein shakes and stuff, and now we don't do that anymore. We just drink eggs because eggs are great for you, one of
Yeah.
the best things for you. And yeah, there's all these things promoted as healthy and beneficial when really, in reality, if you did some research on it, it turns out not to be healthy.
That's
But it's
right.
promoted in the health section, so
Hmm.
it was a big shock. And I think it's interesting that they continue to promote it. What's the reason why they're promoting it?
It's like the heart
Not sure.
healthy sign. And I mean, we could go and look at any of the things we've got in the cupboard over there, and half of them will say that they're healthy and good for you because the food companies know that people want to eat healthy and they're looking to eat healthy. So they figure they'll tick one box for whoever the authority is that
Yeah.
signs off on that stuff. And they've ticked one box and therefore they say it's healthy and it's good for you. And it's really, really not. I mean, you have to read the ingredients
Yep.
on packets. And the fact is that this is one of the things that I had. If God didn't create it, don't eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing. And so, you know, eat fresh food. Fresh food is the best food. I mean, I even went through a stage where I made my own bread so that I know what's in it. I don't do that now, but I do try to buy a better bread because I'm not gluten intolerant. I can eat gluten. I love bread. But I know that I should only eat it in the morning, for example. I shouldn't eat it later in the day.
Yep.
I still love cornflakes, but corn's made by God. So the
That's
flaking
okay, right?
process from Kellogg's, probably not. But,
Yeah.
you know, I found that that's the best cereal that, and I have cereal for dessert. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I should have Greek yogurt with berries. That's much
Mm.
better.
Yep.
And I think it's about learning. This is one of the other key bits, I think, is that everybody's an individual and everybody's health journey is different. And part of the problem that we've got, a little bit like when we talked about education, there's kind of this one size fits all, and health is a little bit the same. And they say that everybody should not eat fat and everybody should not eat sugar. And Well, that's not necessarily the case, and you've got to work out what works for you.
Yep.
In some cases, I shouldn't eat pasta, rice, those sorts of things seem to affect me specifically. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with pasta and rice,
Mm.
right? And so I think you've got to take a step to understand your own health journey. You've got to work out what works for your body and what doesn't. There's even that argument about meat. Should we eat meat, not eat meat? Do you
100%
have
we
a
should
view
eat
on
meat.
that?
I
Oh, yeah.
love, look, Charlize and I, we just eat chicken, steaks, mince, beef mince. That's pretty much it at the moment because we're a bit tight on the money right now. But I think eating meats is great. But obviously straight meat, like you need to have some carbs in there and your vitamins and things like that.
And carbs isn't just bread, rice, pasta. You know, broccoli is a carbohydrate,
Yeah.
and beetroot and sweet potato, regular potato, pumpkin. These sorts of things. And as you say, were you taught that in school?
No, well, I can't really remember to be honest. So it obviously didn't stick with me. But I was gonna say I do think there's most likely a lack of education. And honestly, something that I'm realizing a lot in this world is to not trust the words of others, especially officials and authorities, in terms of just a lot of things. Um, and I think doing it your own way is very good. And I mean, in terms of your research, if you do your own research into what you're eating and into what you actually need to be quote unquote healthy, like to reach, a good weight level or whatever your goals or targets are, instead of just going off like the Coles 5-star health rating. You know how they have that on each product?
Yeah.
And it says my Dare 30 protein coffee is a 5-star out of 5. Like, come on, we
No,
can't
it's
can't
bad
we
for you.
can't put
Stop
our trust
drinking
in that.
them.
I know. I'm guilty of that. But
Full of sugar. We haven't really
I
talked
know,
about
I know.
sugar.
But we can't go off of that. I think you need to definitely go off your own research, and yeah, and I think that's important in everything. Even when you see posts, I mean, it's a different topic, but even when you see posts on Instagram or TikTok, I think like of news sources, for example, I think a lot of people read the headline, they take that as gospel instead of looking into the context, looking into and doing their own research. I think that's really important and really important in health, especially with what you're putting into your body. I think you need to know exactly what you're putting into your body and actually do some research, and then you can avoid being misled and uneducated on it.
So, do you think we confuse looking healthy with being healthy because of the social media component? And how much of a role do you think social media plays in our approach to health now?
I think with my generation, um, with the men, I think there's been a big uh, increase on men going to the gym to get big and strong, and I think that's purely from influence of social media. A few names like Andrew Tate, for example, he was massive. He still is quite big now, but when during COVID, he was very, very, very popular, especially with people around my age, and he was encouraging men to go to the gym, get big, get strong. Um, but the motivation of why people go to the gym and to look big, I think a lot of it is looks, and I think a lot of it is approval of others. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons people go to the gym and want to look good is of the approval of others. And I would say I don't think it's the best motivator because I don't think it's a sustainable motivation. I think if you're always trying to seek the approval of others, it won't last. It might go for a bit, but I don't think it'll last. I think you need to go to the gym out of respect for yourself because you love yourself, you respect yourself, you want yourself to be healthy. And yeah, I think a lot of my generation, why they go to the gym, I think it is a lot about looks. I don't know if they like a lot of people do some crazy things to get their protein up or to get their calories up. They'll do a lot of dirty bulks. They'll have KFC like 3 times a day type of thing so they can bulk up and get big because that's all it's about is looking big, looking tough. But is that necessarily healthy? Probably not. And I think the motivator and what social media pushes is definitely looks and the approval of others. I think that's probably the top motivator. I'm not saying that's the motivator for absolutely everyone. Um, but yes, I think social media pushes that. But then there's the flip side of social media now, um, pushing being overweight as well. I've seen it in the shops with Calvin Klein or other brands that sell underwear. They've got models now that are really large or overweight, and they're kind of promoting it as, hey, that's okay. It's okay to be overweight. It's okay to be large. And I don't think it's healthy. I don't think anyone agrees. There's no way people agree that it's okay to be overweight because it's not healthy. That's the fact. If you look at the science, it's not good to be overweight. And I think a lot of companies and the world is just trying to get into this, let's accept absolutely everything, even if it means you're unhealthy. If it hurts your feelings, then, oh, it's okay. Because no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings. Everyone's real sensitive.
I
But
think it
really,
I think it does come to this politically correct society that we live in. I remember in my day they used to have these supermodels who were these skinny, amazingly beautifully tall women who were skinny and gorgeous and all the clothes fit them, and if you were bigger you were frowned upon and you were looked down upon. I remember when I went into politics, I was probably about this size. This seems to be my average size, though I'm probably a bit less now than I was then. And it was kind of frowned upon. Like I was encouraged to lose weight very quietly, very subtly.
mm,
But the view that you can't be in the public eye if you've a bit bigger. But I think that's changed over the last 10 years in that people have said, well, hang on a minute. It's not my weight that's the thing. It's my brain and what I bring to the job that matters. But, I lead a very busy role, and the role that I'm involved in, I've seen it impact me physically when I've been bigger and when I've been more unfit, because I can't sustain my lifestyle. I can't sustain the travel that I have to do if
yeah,
I'm not healthy. I need to be sleeping. I need to be eating well. I need to be exercising because it keeps me fitter and able to actually do my job. So you're right. I think that you need to be healthy. They have different views on what is healthy, right?
mm,
And what is overweight and what is not overweight. And, there's kind of this, well, we accept you and we love you regardless of your size. That's what you're seeing advertised. It's like, look, it doesn't matter what size you are. We have a size for everyone in this shop. And so we can help fit you. Whereas I remember going in, there would be, I remember when Martin used to come shopping with me and I would just walk past these shops and he'd say, but you didn't even go in. I'd say, well, I know they won't have my size because
mm,
they don't outfit clothes for women my size. And there was only certain shops that I could go to that would actually have clothes available for women my size. And that has always been a problem. It's always been a problem for bigger women. And that's why, we've always wanted to lose weight and try to lose weight so that we can go in. I remember the first time I went to Q
mm,
and I could shop in Q. I was so excited with that outfit I bought. I loved it. I wore it everywhere because I could finally shop in Q. So that is not necessarily a place that I had ever shopped before I lost that weight. And so, I think that's a factor. The politically correct thing is interesting. The other challenge that I've got as an older woman who wants to keep her weight off and so on is the gym. Because I feel like the gyms are really designed for you young people, not for us. So I did join. I'd lost some weight. I wanted to maintain it. I wanted to build resistance and strength and so on. And it was sort of
mm,
like, okay, well, the next step is go to the gym. So I joined a gym and there were mostly people my age there, but they gave me a younger PT
mm,
who made me do things that I wasn't ready for. And I got hurt my arm, hurt my leg,
yeah,
stopped going. So, I'm not sure we have enough older PTs that can help us through that process,
yeah.
which is an interesting challenge for
You're
people
probably right.
my age going to the gym.
Yeah, you're probably right. Um, I think something that comes to mind for like people your age. I feel like we saw a lot of it when we went to Adelaide, where these group things where it's not an open 24/7 24/7 gym with a bunch of weights everywhere, and you go do your own thing. It was a set classes. You're all in a group, and I know someone that does that type of thing, and I think it's similar to what's that place called? 45 something. I'm not sure,
I
but
don't know anything about those sorts of groups. I'm not involved in any of them.
anyway, they pretty much get together. They're all in a group, and there's like multiple PTs, and they all run through a thing. They do like
Yeah,
cardio
yeah,
and a lot more body weight stuff. I think um, body weight
yeah,
movements would probably be better.
yeah.
But
That's what
yes,
I do. And I can just do that at home with myself. I mean, I actually think walking, and there's a lot of research now out about walking and how good walking is for you.
yeah, 100%.
Somebody younger, closer to your age than mine, said to me last week that they'd heard me talk about walking and decided they'd give it a go and how good it's been for them and how much they're enjoying
Oh,
it.
that's good.
And so, I think walking is quite good. I try to walk. Well, I did 75 hard once, again, one of these weight loss type things. And
Mm,
that was a pretty great experience. It was during COVID, so it was a bit easier. Um, and, the walking 45 minutes a day is something I've tried to keep as well as reading, because that's another thing that's in 75 hard, and
yeah,
sticking to eating well. So I think you stick to the outside of the supermarket where the fresh fruit and veg is, and the fresh food, stick there. And then I think walk or do some sort of exercise, some sort of movement
yeah,
every day.
yeah.
Is
And
that enough if you just do those two things?
I genuinely think as long as you're doing at least something, um, like yourself, you're walking, and I feel like there's, we can get more into the psychological side of things and the mental side of things, because I hear so many people say, "I don't have time," which I think is a bunch of rubbish. Everyone has time. Even myself. I want to start running and I haven't, so I'm guilty of that. But I have time. I know I have time. All you need is 20 minutes of your day to walk, or if you want to do 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. But even just starting with 20 minutes, even 15 minutes, whatever you can handle, you can build it up. All you got to do, if you are really jam-packed in your day, just wake up earlier or stay up later, whatever. But you can always make time. And I think that's a load of rubbish. So if your excuse is that you don't have time, you need to make time for it. And if you really do care about your health, and you should, because health is wealth, that's what we like to say, then you'll make time for it. And I think if you're, I think a lot of people drop off on the exercise once they get up to around your age. I think they just don't worry about it anymore. And I think if you're walking, you'll probably be in the 1 to 3% of people that are working out. And, one of the most important things in life, which is so valuable, is time. And I think if you're healthy, you're going to have more time on this earth. But not even just more time on this earth. If you have healthy joints and you're able to walk, then you're going to be able to do more things for an extended amount of period of time. Like when we went to Adelaide, we saw our relative, and she's 95, almost 100 years old. And because she always has been fit, she's always worked on her joints, been flexible, walked, and she did
Yoga.
Pilates, yoga.
Yoga.
She did yoga. She's 95, and she was still, before she had a bit of a incident. Before that, she's still living on her own, still doing things around the house, gets up on ladders trying to fix things, and she's 95 years old.
Yeah.
And that is all because of taking care of her body, because she just did one thing, which was yoga, or two things, walking and yoga. She made time for it. And due to that, she's had more time to do things, to look after herself, because health is wealth.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think if you let yourself get off the rails a bit, and you say, "Oh, I'll start next week, oh, next year," and it prolongs, and your body just, keeps getting more and more unhealthy, then you get to 60, 70, you start having health problems. Oh, now I can't travel anymore. Now I can't do this. Now I can't do that. Now I'm stuck in a hospital bed. Now I'm stuck on a walker,
Yeah.
So you need to start now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's right. And for me, I started as I approached 50. I wanted to make sure that I was healthier in the second half of my life than I felt I was in the first half of my life. There is a big longevity kind of push now. This live to 100, beyond 100. Dick Van Dyke, 100. He used to dance, so you don't know who that is either. But anyway,
No, I don't.
and so I think this live till 100. I want to live till I'm 100. I want to see my grandkids and my great
Yep.
grandkids and my great great grandkids, and I want to be healthy to do it. And so, I don't want to get to this, oh, I'm too old. I'm too old. I can't do that. I'm too old. Now, don't get me wrong. My knees creak a bit when I go up and downstairs. And I'm not quite sure my foot ever recovered from that hike you took me on in Taiwan. Uh, so, I recognize I'm getting older and there is a challenge. As you get older, it does get harder, And so this body weight exercise, like I use one of those apps on my phone, especially when I'm traveling, because of that excuse, I don't have time. I'm often more tired when I travel, but I'm still in my hotel room. I can do a few squats, a few lunges,
Yeah.
a few sit-ups, that sort of thing. And I think, it is about what you put effort into. So I'm making a commitment to do a bit of something every day, even if it's not walk around the block because it's 40 degrees outside. I might not go for a walk in the heat. And yes, I know we have a treadmill, but
Yes,
I
we
don't
do.
enjoy the treadmill, so I don't go on the treadmill.
You should just put some like nature on the TV, so it's like you're walking through the nature.
Yeah, I know. It's our biggest family complaint here that we have this treadmill that nobody uses. I do prefer to walk in nature. I think that's also good for you from a
No, I
health
do as well. I do as well.
perspective. So, I think we want to challenge everybody to take care of themselves, to be healthy, to eat well, eat on the outer aisle, do a bit of physical exercise, movement of some description every day,
Yep.
and think about it, focus on it, and think about the excuses that you make and try to overcome those excuses. If you need to join a gym, join a gym. I'm not a member of a gym. I don't feel the need to join a gym. I've got better things to spend my money on. But I do eat healthy. I try to eat healthy. It's harder when you travel, but I
Yep.
do try to eat healthy. I cooked today. Well, actually, I cooked yesterday. I had the leftovers today, so
That's all right.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll just close with saying you need to mix everything together. Training, eating, and rest. Those are the three
And water.
that you need. Yes, well, we'll chuck that in with eating.
Thank you.
Water's also very important. Yeah, if you're training very, very hard, say with weights, I'm more speaking if you're trying to, I guess, gain weight or gain muscle. If you're just training and you're not eating correctly, then a lot of that work in the gym isn't going to really help you too much. There's a lot to do with your eating. Eating is very, very, very important with your training. So you need to mix all those together, watch what you eat, actually do some research into what you're eating. And on the mental side, you need to be disciplined. I know it's easier said than done, but there's literally no negative at all to being healthy. There's no negatives to stop eating bad food. And look, we're not saying to be angels. Like, I have cookies every now and then. It's okay to have a sweet treat every now and then.
Frangos.
I don't have Frangos anymore.
Oh, don't you? Okay.
No. But majority eat good for the majority of your time. Train. Don't make the excuse that you don't have time. I know you have time. Everyone has time. And maybe buddy up with someone to keep each other accountable. Just find a system that works that can help you be more disciplined, and it's going to strengthen your mind. You're going to feel more confident in yourself. You're going to feel better every day. And yeah, there's just no negative to it. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it.
And age is not an excuse.
It's not.
It doesn't matter how old you are. Even if you're older, you can walk around shopping centres where it's safe, where it's lit. All of that is still movement. That is still worthwhile. You do actually pick the food that you eat. You choose what you put in your mouth every single day. Another fun saying, you can't outwalk your fork. So you got to be careful about how much you put in. And you've got to, move to keep it down. That's absolutely true. In all the diets I've done, that's still the case, right? You've got to have more out than in.
And it's a choice. At the end of the day, it is a choice. If you are the way you are now and you're not happy with it, you're there because it was a choice. And you can change that, and you can become the way you want to be. You can become healthier. You can look a certain way. But it starts with being a choice. Everything's a choice. Don't be a victim. It's a choice, and make a choice today to become more healthy.
That's the end of this episode. We hope that you've enjoyed this. If you've got some comments to say, if you think we didn't cover something you'd like us to cover a bit further, please comment below, like, subscribe, follow, all those sorts of things. Share this podcast with a friend. And if there's a topic that you would like to hear us discuss, some words of wisdom from us experts. Did I mention we're not experts? Don't
No,
trust
not at
us at all when it comes to we just know what we know from our experience.
Yeah, we just talk
We're
on
happy to share.
experience. and
That's
it.
right. That's right. And so we better go and have a healthy dinner.
That's
See you
it.
next time.
Bye bye.